Hi everyone, so today's video is going to be my August wrap-up. Now I have dreaded filming this video because I read a lot of books in August. For me at least, I read a lot of books and all of them are physical books, and because of my physical disabilities it's very difficult for me to hold up that many books, so I skipped a couple. So I am going to mention that I read them in like physical form, but I'm just not going to hold them up. And yeah, I've dreaded filming this video today. My eyes are also like being really weird, like my vision just goes like really fuzzy like every couple seconds for some reason. So if I'm not fully focusing on the camera with my eyes, it's because I can't really see that well today. So we're doing great. I was also planning on filming 2 videos today, but with the amount of pain I'm already in right now after like sitting for 5 minutes to like set up for this video, I am probably not going to do that. So yeah, let's just try and get through this video as fast as possible and with as minimal as pain as possible. So yeah, let's just get into the first couple of mangas that I read in August, and that was Maid-sama. And the volumes that I read were volumes 1 till 7, I'm pretty sure. I read a lot of manga in August. I also read a lot of physical books in August, and I also did read this in like physical form because I do own like 8 volumes of Maid-sama, I believe. So yeah, I did read this in physical form as well. I thought it was interesting. I'm mainly just reading these for like nostalgia. Like I don't think they're that great like Maid-sama. I don't think the series is that wonderful. But I'm mainly just reading them for nostalgia. So sorry if you could hear my cat sigh really loudly. But yeah, let's just move on to the next like mangas that I read, I guess, because again, I'm just not in a good mindset today. I can't talk properly. I can't see properly. I'm in pain. We're doing horrible. So yeah, interesting to read, I guess, nice for nostalgia. The main guy character is basically just like a red flag throughout probably the entire series, even though I haven't read the entire series, but let's be honest, he probably is, because this was written in like what, 2009 or something. So yeah, just reading this for nostalgia. That's it basically. Then next we have Minato's Laundromat Volume 1. I also own this physically, and yeah, I just can't hold it up. I don't have that much energy today. I already have to hold up like 6 books. So yeah, read this physically. I've watched the BL, or the first season of the BL at least, and this has a bit of like an age gap thing, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I feel like the BL series handled it quite well. The manga, on the other hand, like it's making me a bit iffy. There's a lot more like spicy-ish stuff happening. Like it's not actually happening, but they're like alluding to it, and that makes me uncomfortable because again, it's literally like a minor and an adult. Like that's weird. And I feel like in the BL, like the live action, they handled it a lot better with them not talking about that stuff. So yeah, I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know if I'm gonna like the manga series, but I do own 1 more volume. I own volume 2 as well, so I'm gonna read that as well soon probably and see what I think of it. So yeah, then next we have Kami-sama Kiss volumes 1 till 6. Like I said, I read a lot of manga, but yeah, I read volumes 1 till 6 mainly because I don't own anything past 6. And yeah, again, I'm reading this basically for nostalgia. The main guy character is a bit less of a red flag in this series, but still kind of. Also, I think he's a lot prettier than the main character for Maid-sama, which I feel like that's a very controversial opinion, because people usually think that the main guy character from Maid-sama is a lot more like good looking. I think the main guy character for this is a lot more good looking, which I feel like part of that has to do with the fact that like he's drawn a lot more androgynous, which I'm not gonna delve deeper into that, but yeah. Anyway, the point is, I like this a lot more, I think, than Maid-sama. I would like to read more volumes of it, but they're very difficult to find, so I basically just buy like 1 volume a year if I can find them somewhere. So yeah, it's gonna take me quite a while to finish the series, but yeah, I would like to finish it someday. So yeah, I really apologize if you can hear someone like doing construction work outside, by the way. It's a bit further away, but I feel like you can still hear it because I can hear it. I can't close the window that's open because I always tell my dad to close that window before he leaves, because he always likes to leave it open even during the winter. And I always tell him to close it before he leaves because I can't close it myself, and if I'm cold, I'm just stuck with it. But he forgot to close it once again. So really sorry if you can hear that, but yeah, we're getting into the physical books now, so pray for my arms, I guess. But the first one is The Way I Used to Be. This is a book that I've wanted to read for years now, but I wanted to wait for the sequel to come out, and I also read that one in August, so I'm going to talk about that later. But I'm first going to talk about this one, obviously. Now this has a very sensitive topic, so I would recommend like looking at the trigger warnings for this book, but I feel like this book handled it very well. Like, it's a very important book to me. Like, I feel like the way that they portrayed everything, and like, I don't know how I can talk about it without like triggering people by using certain words, but basically it's about a girl who gets essayed and she doesn't go to the police. I feel like it's such an important topic because I feel like when people get essayed, like a lot of people will like tell them to go to the police, and then when they don't go to the police, they often get like shamed for it. Like when they come out like years later saying like, hey, this happened to me, people will like shame them for it. And I feel like that's such a, like, it's not a good thing, you know? And I feel like books like this help with like understanding why someone wouldn't come out and just say it and like go to the police as if it's that easy, you know? So I feel like this is a very important book. I quite liked it. There's some things I didn't really like about it, but honestly I feel like this topic, again, which is very sensitive, was dealt in a very like sensitive way, and so I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, I also read the sequel for this in August, so I'm gonna talk about that now. The sequel to that book is The Way I Am Now. I actually like this cover a lot more than the other one, but sadly enough I didn't like this book as much as I liked the first one. I feel like it had a lot more like romance components and less like we're dealing with a very sensitive topic and, you know, we're delving into that. And this was more like 60% romance and like 40% sensitive topic. And again, I'm not really someone who likes romance books. I feel like other people might like this book because it has like the romance component, but I personally didn't really like it. The first book also had like some romance parts, but I feel like a lot of that like spicy stuff that was in there, because there were some scenes, I feel like a lot of that was like with the idea in mind of like she's, you know, recovering from SA, whereas this is just like, you know, someone who's having a, you know, a spicy relationship with their partner. Like, that's not what I was looking for in the book, you know? Like, again, other people might like this. I'm not saying that it's a horrible book. I'm saying that for me it just didn't really work because, again, I'm not really like a romance reader. I don't really enjoy that type of stuff. So yeah, I did like the way that like the SA situation was handled. I don't think I can talk about it without giving like spoilers for the entire book basically and the ending of the first one, but yeah, I did like the way that that was talked about. I liked the ending. Like, I liked the way that it was handled. I liked the way that it was written. But yeah, overall it wasn't really for me, but I do think other people would enjoy it and I would recommend this series, I guess. So yeah. And the next book is In Deeper Waters. This is also a book that I read physically, but I don't have it here because, again, I was trying to like minimize the amount of books that I was gonna hold up. And I also didn't finish this book fully. I read only like 65% of it, I think, but I still marked it as like read them because I read over half, so I still technically read most of it. But yeah, I enjoyed the cover a lot more than I enjoyed the book. Like, I was constantly talking about, especially when I first bought this book, about how pretty the cover is. But yeah, like, I didn't end up enjoying the book that much. I'm really sorry if you can hear the construction work. I feel like it's getting louder somehow. So yeah, I'm really sorry if you can hear it. I'm definitely not going to film another video after this because I feel like the construction work is just ruining the sound of the video. So yeah, really sorry about that. But yeah, didn't finish this book. Would still recommend it if you want to read it, but it was just not for me. I don't know why. It just wasn't. So yeah. The next book is the book Pain. This is actually a book that is not in English for once. I won this in a giveaway. And yeah, it was quite difficult to read because it's not in English and I don't usually read books that are not in English. But I still made it through. I also tapped like a lot of it because it's basically just like a book about pain. And I feel like even though it's not in English and so I was struggling a bit, like, it was really interesting to read. It had some very good quotes, and yeah, if I post about this book like on my Instagram, because I like to put like quotes from books on my Instagram and take pictures of them, if I do that, I probably will have to translate them, which is going to be a struggle, but yeah, I did like this book. I'm glad that I won a giveaway for once, because I usually never win, and of course it had to be a book that wasn't in English, but yeah, I made it through this book. I liked it, some good quotes, and yeah, let's just move on because I'm really getting irritated by the construction work, so yeah, let's just move on. Then the next book is Ace and Arrow. This is a book from Nick Alley, so it's basically the only book that I read in August that I don't have physically. And this is basically like a relationship guide for people who are Ace or Arrow or both, and how to like navigate a relationship, like tips and tricks and stuff like that. And I thought it was quite interesting, and yeah, I read it. It's good for my Nick Alley score that I read it, because I feel like I'm really falling behind on that, but yeah, I enjoyed it. So yeah, then next I read All the Right Reasons. Now this was a very fast read. I was expecting more disability representation though, because like the character with a disability is literally on the cover, and so I was expecting more from him, but he barely got any screen time or book time or page time, I don't know how to call it, but he was barely in the book. There's only like a couple good like quotes from him about like his disability and stuff like that, and I was expecting way more from that, but yeah, it was basically more focused on like the relationship between the daughter and the mother in the book, which was fine, but yeah, I was expecting more from it. I guess I bought this because of the disability representation, so I guess I had a wrong view of what this book was going to be. The ending was a bit rushed as well, but it was fine, I guess. Like, it was a fast read. I kind of enjoyed it. So yeah. The next book is JSK Agenda. Now, I basically spent the entire time that I was reading this book screaming at the main character to stop doing stupid stuff. But yeah, he didn't stop, but I guess that's just who the main character was. Like, it was pissing me off, kind of, but not as much as the next book that I'm gonna talk about pissed me off, but like in a good way, whereas this was like in a kind of good way. Like, I gave this 3 stars, like it was okay, but again, the main character and some of his actions, like, damn. But yeah, it was kind of okay. The ending was quite cute, but it wasn't one of my favorite books. So yeah, let's just move on, because I really want to talk about the last book that I read in August, because it's like my favorite one, and it might be like a favorite of the year even. And I want to talk about it before I fully lose my mind about the construction work happening outside, because it's grating on my nerves more and more as I continue sitting here. So yeah, let's try and talk about the last book and hopefully like express my thoughts like clearly and concisely without losing my mind. So yeah, I would still recommend this book, but it just wasn't fully for me, because main characters like that, they grate on my nerves, just like construction work grate on my nerves. The last book that I read in August was Yellowface. Now, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars, but the way that June is written, like, I don't know how the author did that, but she made a character so hateable that it's almost like undescribable. Like, it's so, like, I think about June and like I physically want to reach in the book and just like rip her out and just like remove her from the book entirely, so that like the book can be like nice and it can be like a feel-good story, because like with her, like, she's just ruining everything, you know? Like, it's indescribable just how much I hate our character. And I feel like being able to write a character like that, a character like June, when you as like an Asian author are like writing the character, like, that's so, like, she's so talented, like, the author, to be able to do that. Like, it's genuinely unbelievable to me that she's able to write a character like that. Like, in case you don't know, the whole premise of Yellowface is that an Asian author like dies while she's in the presence of a white author, and the white author is way less successful than the Asian author, and the Asian author dies in her presence, and the white author takes it upon herself to like steal her story, like steal a book that she wrote and that she spent like, it's basically like her life work, you know? Like, it's a very important story to her, and she just like steals it and makes it her own and pretends to be Asian. And again, the way that she's written, like, to be able to write a character like that when you yourself as the author of this book are Asian, I don't know how you do that. Like, I would genuinely lose my mind. Like, I would genuinely start hating my own book, because of the character. Like, I obviously knew that the author of this book was talented because I actually own a couple of her books, but because they're fantasy, I never really started reading them because I'm scared of them. And then this book came out and I was like, this is a better way for me to introduce myself to her work. Because again, like, I read books like this a lot better than I read fantasy. And if I just go into her work, but like a fantasy book, like, I'm gonna have a different experience than anyone else reading it, because again, I struggle with it because my native language is not English, and like fantasy books are just really difficult for me to read. So I feel like starting with this book, like, that was a way better idea, because now I'm actually like excited to read the fantasy books, which rarely ever happens. But again, the writing in this book is so good in my opinion, and people often say that this is like one of her, you know, not worst works necessarily, but like the other ones are way better because that's more like her genre, like fantasy books. And yeah, now I'm actually excited to read those books. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Gave it 5 stars. If I could, you know, unalive June, I definitely would, but that's a whole different story. I also like the slight like horror-esque scenes in this. Like, I really wasn't expecting it because I was reading this book like late at night, and all of a sudden it turned like slightly horror, and I was like, that's not what I was expecting. Like, none of the book screamed horror to me until that very moment. So yeah, that was kind of iffy, and you could definitely tell like the author is a fantasy author, because like that moment I was like, ooh, that's very fantasy-ish to suddenly do stuff like that. But I really liked it. Like, I genuinely liked it, even though again, I'm not really like a horror person, but I genuinely liked that part. Like, it was really well written, like the entirety of the rest of the book. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Can't wait to read her other works now, which again, before this book I was kind of scared to read them, but now I'm excited. So yeah, that's great. So I'm really glad this video is now finally over. I am a bit sad that I'm not going to be able to film a second video though, even though I feel like the construction workers just took a break. Like, I can't hear anything anymore, so if they're literally going to stop like now, like, that's really going to piss me off. But yeah, I'm kind of sad that I couldn't film like a second video because that was kind of like my plan. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to. Again, like, my autism really just is not having the construction work, even though it's literally done now. No, they've started again, so I guess they didn't take a break. But yeah, I guess I'll try and film like the other video that I planned for today. I guess I'll film it like in a couple weeks, because next week I can't film because my dad will be home and we'll probably be, you know, going to some places. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was very long, and I know that, you know, I had a lot of books to talk about, and I had a difficult time talking about them because I don't feel good, the construction work, the pain from holding the books, like, it was a whole mess. But I hope you guys enjoyed it regardless. I also hope that like filming this video made me excited to read again, because I haven't finished a book since Yellowface, and I feel like there's a reason for that, because no book can now top Yellowface in my opinion, and every other book is going to disappoint me. So yeah, in case anyone's wondering, I read that book in August, by the way. It's now like the 12th of October, so yeah, I'm gonna try and like read more after this video, because again, I feel like talking about books makes me excited about reading them. So yeah, let's just end this video now and try and read some, I guess. So yeah, thank you for watching, and bye.